Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another session of podcast. I wish and I'm sure you will enjoy listening to the broadcast.
What is the concept of learning? Not what we have learned and not what we have read about what is learning or nothing like that. What is the meaning of learning? And how is the brain connected with learning? How can learning get better? So, sir, if you can enlighten us about what is learning really?
No question of enlightening and all that stuff. That's a big word. So, if you want to really understand what is learning, you have to understand. Language plays a very important role.
True. You had mentioned it last time.
Yeah. So the word learning. What is the word learning means? In English, it's more of a borrowed language. It is also called the trade language. English is one language which is known to the most part of the world.
Right.
Chinese Mandarin is the largest spoken language in the world because of the population of China. But you cannot go to America, Canada, or New Zealand, Australia and speak in Mandarin to people. People will not know.
Right.
In most of the Europe and most of the parts of the world, you can survive with English, especially in Asian countries, because of the colonialism. So we talk about the word learning. First, try to understand the word learning. What is this word learning all about? Where does it come from? There is a subject called etymology. You must be knowing that.
Yeah.
Etimology. Etymology is a dictionary. It's a subject by itself, which gives you the root cause of words. How each word came into the existence of language English. In that, learning comes from an English word only. Leornian. Learnian. Leornian. Leornian is the previous word. This word learning came nearly about 900 years ago. Not before that.
Okay.
That means to read, to study, to know, to think. Like that kind of meaning will come. So this is the etymological root meaning of the word learning. So if you want to really understand what is learning, you should understand the basic learning of a human life. Don't go to the language or don't go to curriculum and all that.
Yeah, we associate
Learning starts when you are a fetus.
Right.
In the womb. Because this amazing machine brain, it goes on recording everything it come across. You must be knowing that.
Yeah.
Is that learning? Continuous recording of all experiences getting experienced by an individual is learning or not? It's a question. We'll come to that.
Yeah, it's an interesting question.
We'll come to that. Now, when you are fetus in after 3 months, you start learning. The learning starts there.
Right, the mother's womb.
Yes, what all the mother does, what all she handles, what all she speaks, what all work she does,
Right.
what all electronics she handles, what all fighting she does, what all emotions she goes through. Everything is recorded by the fetus brain.
So it's not just sensory. Things like emotion, etc.
Sensory is not involved here. It is the brain directly recording it. Because the child is a part of the mother
Right.
inside the womb. He's recording it. He need not to see or hear.
Here, that's right.
He's hearing. The sound frequency is, traveling inside. What you speak when your child is in your womb is completely recorded. Your cooking is recorded. Your all the day-to-day activity is recorded. You're sitting and watching a program, it's recorded. You're sitting and handling a touchscreen mobile phone, it's recorded. You're handling a computer, it's recorded. You're handling an iPad, it's recorded. So there itself, a bundle of information is being recorded by the brain of the child which is yet to be born.
Right.
Then he comes out. Then the psychologists speak about the basic learning. You know, the subject of psychology is the science of behavior. The learning is a big branch there. It's a very big branch there. What is learning? You know, learning to smile, learning to cry, all those kinds starts from there. You know, learning to express when you are hungry by creating noise, whatever. So the brain starts growing from the day you are born to first 3 months very rapidly.
Right.
Okay, it's opening up now. You know, learning to turn, learning to crawl, learning to sit down, learning to stand up with support, learning to stay without support, standing, learning to walk. All this is coming under learning. And what is that learning? It's called the learning by imitation. The first learning is learning by imitation. You must have heard this, or you have not heard this, I don't know. Learning by imitation, by looking at the parents and doing it. I am looking at the people around me, they are all walking. I know one day I have to move to one place to another place.
Right.
This is learning by imitation. When I start to speak, I speak like my father, I speak like my mother. You would have noticed all that. And those are all learning by imitation. Then the child tried to learn small things. That learning is called by trial and error method. I try something as a child, I don't get it because I'm making an error there. I try to switch on a battery operated car given to me. I'm pressing the wrong button. Then I press the right button, then car starts moving. You know, by trial and error. I'm just giving you a small example.
Yeah.
There are many things. That's called trial and error. Then comes learning by conditioning. That's by Pavlov, a Russian psychologist. So we learn one particular stuff again and again and again. We get conditioned to it. So that's called learning by conditioning. Then comes learning by insight.
Learning by insight.
Yeah. Learning by insight is something, there are so much of informations which is recorded inside the brain, which we don't know. It spurts at times and comes out. For example, a 3-year-old child is trying to solve a mathematical problem. He's not getting it. And he gets cheesed off with that, trying 3, 4 times, 10 times. He's not getting the right answer. You leave it. He'll be going and, playing some computer game. Or some cricket with some of his friends, whatever. Suddenly, he is not thinking of his maths at all. Suddenly, some spurt of a thinking strikes. Oh, I missed one step there. He run back to his paper and put that, gets answer. This is learning by insight. I'm just giving you an example.
It happens with adults as well.
Yes,
I've noticed
everybody.
it.
I'm just giving you a small example.
Yeah.
So this is what is basic learning, what is framed and discovered in a human life by the psychologist. That is, learning by imitation comes first, learning by trial and error method, learning by conditioning, learning by insight. This is what is basic learning. The core learning. Then you learn how to eat your food. How to keep yourself clean, how to wear good clothes. All those kind of things. They are the basics.
Right.
How to keep your blood clean, how to do your bed, how to keep your room clean, how to use a dustbin. You just cannot eat something and throw away anything everywhere, no? You cannot. Right?
Yeah.
So there is, always the people say there's a time to sleep, there's a time to eat, there's a time to work,
Right.
whatever. So this is where the word responsibility come into play. The word responsibility means ability to respond for every stimulation around you. It's a very fantastic explanation.
Ability to respond to
for every stimulation around you. Okay?
Yeah.
So responsibility gets divided into 4 categories. They are physical responsibility, mental responsibility, family responsibility, and social responsibility. Physical responsibility, you have to eat, you have to take care of yourself, you have to drink water when you're thirsty, all that kind of things. You have to keep your nails clean, you have to cut your nails when it grows, you have to, all those kind of things. And mental responsibility is to keep good mental health. That is where your physical health also relying upon.
Right.
The fourth one is family responsibility. You have to be useful for the people around you. Right? You have to have an harmonious relationship, a loving relationship with all your siblings, your children, your husband, or whatever, your parents. As you grow, your certain responsibilities keep going up. How to handle your finance, all those kind of things. Not getting addicted to certain crazy things and, losing away your balance, all those things, Then social responsibility, that you should contribute something to the society in which you are a part of it. Helping the humanity around you who are in need. So, what learning of basic things which is going towards your life is leading to the word called responsibility, which is ability to respond for the every stimulation around you.
Right.
This is what is learning. If you're going to talk about the learning what you do with respect to language, that is something different. Trying to be a master in, learning philosophy or learning psychology or learning history or learning geography or learning mathematics or physics, many branches of science and all those kind of things, that leads to a learning of curriculum learning.
I think that, if I can just take a second.
Please.
I think in my mind, I think I've been trying to differentiate what I understand from learning and what you've just said, and it's really beautiful. So we normally associate learning for a certain goal, to do a job, to be able to pass an exam, for something. It's goal oriented. But what you're saying is true learning is responsibility oriented, to make you more responsible.
No, basic learning to how to live a life. That is what is core learning.
That is core learning.
The learning which we going to talk about it from here on is secondary. This is primary. What I spoke so far.
Absolutely. I think that's a beautiful way of splitting it into. I didn't understand earlier what you were trying to tell me before the program, but I think I get it now. The splitting up of learning into two. One is to be responsible, which is the core part of your learning. And only then maybe the learning towards a certain goal, a job or an exam or a career. And probably that learning will be successful only, if you have done your core learning very well before. Am I right?
Yeah. So the parents who are responsible for, bringing in a child into this world, they try to mold the child. Right? Initially, the child is completely dependent.
Right.
Everything you have to do for him. You have to feed him. You have to clean him up. Everything you have to do. So slowly when the child starts to walk and everything, the child pick up the language power from the parents.
Right.
And tends to speak. Form words, form sentences. That is the primary learning.
Right.
Because you need a tool to communicate. Language is a communication tool. With that, it stops.
Right.
In primary learning. In secondary learning, it is something different. You are becoming a master of a linguistic area and all those kind of things. The basic learning is to communicate with my people around me. My grandparents, my brothers and sisters, my parents, or whatever. Try to express, I'm having a pain here. How do I tell? You need a communication tool. That is where the language comes into play. Now the psychologists have made tremendous research. I was basically a student of psychology when I was young.
Right.
I did my post-graduation in psychology from Presidency College, which is in the Beach Road here,
Yeah, Chennai.
and which belongs to the Madras University. Those days, the psychology which we did was completely different. That was between 1976 to 81 compared to the psychology. The basics is the same. There are a lot of additions have come now. So now here, if you carefully look at the psychologists, their research works all over the world, they have very clearly understood the first 8 years of a child's life. No other language other than the mother tongue should be introduced because the brain is not equipped enough in its growth.
Oh, okay.
You're not supposed to introduce another language into a tender brain up to 8 years of age. Do we do that?
We do the exact opposite.
Opposite we do.
In fact, I have heard a myth saying that as many languages as you can introduce to a child before the age of 7, it's beneficial for that child. And I think it couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah, but again, if you see if you take see a brain, the word brain is a scientific word. Brain is a scientific terminology. Brain is a scientific word. A word called mind is a philosophical term.
Yeah.
Do you call medulla oblongata as a mind? Do you call the pituitary as a mind? No.
No, right.
Do you call the cortex as mind? No. So mind is a philosophical term. You don't direct a particular part of the brain and say it's mind. So brain is a scientific term. Mind is a philosophical term. The brain of the human beings, it is not your brain or my brain. It is a brain which belongs to human species.
Yeah.
Because it's evolved over millions and millions and millions and millions of years.
Right.
Probably 10 million years ago, the brain was not like this, what it is today, with its versatility in its various functions of cognitive factors. The brain is today far equipped.
Right. So,
But still, language plays a role. Because with language, you try to do verbal understanding only. Is that learning? Is a question. Learning is not so easy to understand. I don't think so learning is understood by the teaching faculties around the world. What it is to train a brain to learn. You said rote learning, right?
yeah.
Rote learning is the one which is practiced all over the world to equip a brain which doesn't remember anything in the end.
True.
Is that learning?
Definitely not. I think
We are only talking about the learning now. We are not going beyond this. So, rote learning, I can ask you a question. Is memorizing and repeating is learning? I don't think so. Memorizing and repeating is a functional part of a cognitive factor. That's all.
it's not learning.
That cannot be learning.
It cannot be learning.
It cannot be learning. Learning is something like if you learn, if your father has taught you how to swim at the age of 4, and after which you have never seen water in your life, at the age of 62 you are thrown in the water, you will swim.
You'll swim.
Right?
Yeah.
You have not forgotten that at all.
Right.
That whatever you have learned in that age of 4 is remembered after 58 long years.
Yeah.
It is learning.
That is learning. Yeah.
Yeah. Where there is no language play a role. In your swimming, a language plays a role?
No.
Say yes or no.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
So learning doesn't have to do necessarily with the language. Or will not have
If there is a learning beyond, see, learning is something that if you want to talk about verbal learning, you have to know a language.
Yeah.
You need you want to read a book in English. Say you take up a book of Sigmund Freud, who's the father of psychology, or a Martin Luther King, who was revolutionary in his thinking. You read his book. if it is in the media of English language, you should know English to read.
Yeah.
When you know English to read that book, you need your sensory organ to apply. You need to focus your eye
Yeah.
to read the content, right? So the first step is the help of a sensory organ. The second step is the language which know to the brain. The third step is a cognitive exercise.
Of reading.
You are getting to know things, what somebody has contributed something to the humanity and gone. But that was his outcome, his exercise of a brain, only that you will learn the verbal context of it. It is a verbal understanding. Understanding the word is a very important word, comes under the banner of verbal knowledge.
Right.
You may stand and deliver that this is what Martin Luther King has said, this is what Sigmund Freud has said. That's not learning.
That's not. So we get your point. So finally, just to close this program, so what is the view of ancient Tamil science in terms of learning?
Learning in Tamil science is basically, the society was formed in such a way that any concept of learning in the ancient days is to make you self-reliant for survival and to live with harmonious emotional balance with required economy for your food, clothes and shelter. That is learning.
Beautiful.
What practiced by the ancients.
Beautiful. So it's going back to the
You
core
needn't
learning.
have to be a master in aviation engineering to live a glorious life. The glorious life comes to a person of basics of good food, some levels of clothing, a shelter to live,
Good health.
and to be a part of the society, help the society around you for a better living for all the people.
True.
By your contribution. That is what is learning, which was practiced by the ancient Tamil heritage those days. The education to a person is embedded to reach this concept, what I have explained you, which goes to learning.
Thank you, sir. That was beautiful.
Thank you very much for spending your quality time. Thank you very much for your attention. I wish you enjoyed this session. See you later.